fuzzies. Took them off.
No.
Let's check some audios.
Writing.
I don't know. You wipe that off too?
Wipe it off. Your wipes off, brother.
I don't know. All right, let's check on all the goodies. Make sure we're all good everywhere.
JoJo still in there?
Mm-hmm.
JoJo still in there?
Yep, JoJo's still in here. All right, we are good on Facebook. And all good on the YouTube. The tube. And Bullhorn is obviously good as well. So, first episode number 7 from the deer shed. We talked about it a lot in the podcast, and now we're here in the shed itself to do episode number 7.
Yeah.
But
yeah, give you a little tour of the deer shed. What's behind us? We got some of the bucks I've taken over the course of my hunting life. And then we got the kegerator for the parties, and then we got something cool that I like to do. I guess any friends or family shoot a deer, they usually send me the picture, and my wife made these little clips on the refrigerator. And then I go to Walmart and I get them printed off and I hang them on there, kind of like a bragging board thing. And then for the following year, I put them on, take them off for the upcoming season, and staple them to the wall. So it's kind of like a little trip down memory lane back there.
the collage.
Yep.
The collage. So yeah. Well, I guess, I don't know, you want to start off whiskey of the night?
Sure. What do we got? What did you bring over?
Old Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof. I got one at the bar, which is reserved for when we kill. But I didn't know how that one would transport over here being opened. So wanted to make sure we had a fresh one for tonight.
Freshie. Then sitting in over here, you probably chime in every once in a while. It's my dad. He decided to join in and hang out, and have a beer with us. We call him Plap, but he's hanging out.
So let's skip a root.
You want some Plap?
Yeah, maybe a snort.
A little bit.
Yeah. Probably got a cup up there somewhere for Pat. Well, Nate, why don't you probably start it off? You actually killed, so.
Yeah, went out this past Sunday, which was the 15th? 16th. 15th or 16th, either way. I got to the stand about quarter to 7. Sat down, bumped a couple deer walking in. It was a little buck and a couple does out in the field. I didn't see them. Didn't see them until they started trotting off, but then just kept going. Got to the stand, hopped in it. Was texting Ben. He had the same issue that morning, bumping deer. So
Thank you, sir.
so we're texting back and forth, and I set the phone down about, it was probably 7:20.
Yep.
I set the phone down. I look up out in the grass field, the alfalfa field, and there they were coming right to me. And she gave me a nice 20-yard broadside shot. Mm-hmm. They actually came right into where me and Ben set up a mock scrape.
Yep.
A couple years ago that has been freshened for this season. And she did come right in and was checking out the mock scrape. Then she went down to feeding and gave me a good shot, so I took it.
Yeah. Nice to dust the dust off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what'd she go? You said maybe 100 yards?
Yeah, it was probably 75 yards.
Yep.
Piled up, double longer.
Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. That's the first one you said you shot out of that stand, too.
Yeah, since we went through and you helped me go through and reset a couple stands and try a couple different ideas out. Mm-hmm. Kind of like I don't know, every year you're hunting a spot and then you're like, man, I could make this a little different to make it that much better. And then,
Yep.
So in the off season, you and me, you were good enough. Of course, we always help each other out. It seems like, but
Yep.
you came and gave me a hand, and we moved a few things around. You gave me a little perspective, and it worked out. And yeah, that was the first deer taken out of that stand, and since we adjusted it.
Awesome. But yeah, so yeah, first morning sits. That was a morning hunt, right? Yeah, morning hunt.
Yep, Sunday morning.
Yep. Yeah, and then I made a boo-boo, like you said. You bumped a couple deer on the way in. I ended up bumping at least one shooter on the way in. I physically saw him, actually saw him twice.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of beat me to the spot that morning. It was actually one of the deer I was going in there trying to go after that morning. And he just beat me to the spot, unfortunately. So
Happens.
Real nice buck, but I got to put eyes on him. I saw him earlier in the year, 100-some yards off, but he was the second time I bumped him. He was real close, and I didn't spook him too bad. He didn't take off like a bat out of hell or anything. He just kind of eased off, and but yeah, it was cool to see him. Good looking buck. I wish I'd seen him, coming through that little gap. He was only probably 30 yards from my stand when I came up on him. So
were you walking in at twilight, or was it pretty early?
It was legal shooting, but not quite sunrise. We get that half hour before sunrise. So it was during that time. So I mean, if I could have made a shot, but he was probably, I'd say 50 yards probably from me. I was only probably 40 yards from the stand. He was only probably 25 yards from the stand where he was standing, kind of in a triangle from that.
Yep.
But no, good looking buck. Actually, the stand where I passed Mo out of last year, he was standing right where I let Mo go through on that little cut by it.
We got good news on Mo. He's
alive.
He made it. We thought you thought. I guess we thought.
Yep.
But after that, saw that big buck dead on the side of the road with the head gone on it.
Mm-hmm. I kind of figured it was Mo.
Was him.
But no, Mo's alive and well. He was actually in that field, that spot I was hunting earlier that morning too. So, but that wasn't a buck that I, saw. So, but yeah, Mo is still alive. So that's definitely something that was good because he kind of went missing for basically since that big one got hit, and I was kind of getting a little worried. But no, he's back and he's looking real good.
Always a little bit of a relief.
Yeah, no, he's looking real good, and kind of really happy I kind of let him slip last year. We'll see if I get a crack at him or one of the neighbors do, or who knows, maybe he'll make it another year again.
You called it. I mean, of course, I don't know if anybody's ever 100% from deer from year to year, but they definitely have characteristics I guess you could pick out. But you called it. If that definitely is Mo, he blew up. Yeah, no, he made a good jump. Made a real good jump. But again, I'm not setting my sights. I mean, I'd love to obviously take that deer. But there's a couple on, a couple different properties I hunt that I'm kind of after. So I'm not holding out for one specific. I'm going to really try to target, him specifically because of the history and stuff. But, and then St. Patrick. Other ones
and St. Patrick, yep. St. Patrick. Saw him from the stand. And actually I tried to put Dad on him this year, tonight, the last 2 nights on a 1-year rule. And he'd been busy trying to get stuff done around the house. I told him, I said, that's what the summer's for, man. I said,
Brian, slacking. Brian, you've been slacking around the house?
Well, no, he's been busting it lately. Getting after it, trying to get some things tidied up, gutters cleaned out, stuff like that. With the leaves coming down. But yeah, so we'll see. We got a bunch of data. I mean, you've seen my big crazy whiteboard, so we'll go after him and we'll try him. Actually, that one sit I texted you that I passed one of our up and comers, I'm calling Clipper. Kind of this year's theme is named after the Phelps bars, I guess, is what we're naming the
local bars.
The local bars is what we're naming the bucks after this year. So it just happened to be. So yeah, I saw a Clipper the other night, let him slide. I think he's only like a 2-year-old, but real kind of cool, unique rack. So he's really identifiable.
Oh, you sent me that picture of him you got on there. I was like, man, tough looking deer.
Oh yeah, he looks
like he's ready to kick some butt.
Yeah, no, he was. I saw him another night too, not within range, but he was sparring with Dono from the wine bar. Because I can't really call a bar, can't call a buck wine or bar, so I'm Dono from down at the wine bar.
Don is a staplement.
So yeah. So he was sparring with Dono that night, and so they were all butting heads a little bit down there, the Phelps bar bucks.
Yeah, I guess you did a pretty good naming them. They all look like
They kind of fit.
yeah, you get the Clipper definitely looks like one of them rumble tumble tough guys that would come stumbling out of the Clipper
Yep.
on wing night or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, it's been good. But anyway, so cheers to Nate being the first one to put blood down, and then we can get into what we were doing last night.
Yeah, well, we got one more in between last night. Jesse.
Oh yeah, Jesse took one. Yep.
Jesse took one the same morning I did. He
Yep.
shot his a little later in the morning, not too much farther. I think
Yep.
I shot around 7:20, and he shot right around 8:00.
Yep.
He got himself a nice doe too.
Yep. Yeah, so you killed, Jesse killed, and then Connor last night shot a real nice buck.
Beautiful deer.
Beautiful 8-point. Actually stretched the tape to him this afternoon for him.
128. More?
Yeah, 130 and 5/8.
He broke 130.
Broke 130.
Wow.
Yep, real good buck.
buck.
Yep. Yeah, real nice beams, right 18 inches on the nose for spread, so he had nice, good frame, great buck. His best bull buck.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
He got a nice. He actually during gun season last year was hunting with his bow because he was so adamant about killing a nice buck with his bow.
Yep.
And he did. I think it was like third or fourth week of gun. He actually shot a beautiful.
Yeah, it was right around Thanksgiving. Yep.
Beautiful deer with his bow.
Yep. Yeah, I
It was,
was glad he got him because that deer was looking like he was getting rough on the infection. He had a bad infection in his front neck.
Yeah, well,
his front shoulder,
leg,
yeah.
His foot on the one side was like the size of a softball. It was all
Yep.
swollen up.
Yeah. So I don't know. He had a bad infection. I mean, he was all emaciated. He looked rough, but it was good. He came rolling through, and Connor kind of put him down. I think he was in the low mid 120s too. Another good buck.
Yeah.
Great buck.
But yeah, that was fun to go hang out with him. And,
Yep.
He backed off in the beginning. He
Mhm.
was a little hesitant on his shot. And we went over, gave him a hand, but with the shot he made, he didn't need us.
it
That
didn't-
deer didn't go 100 yards.
No, he didn't need to wait.
Might have
either.
went 100 yards, but that was it.
Yeah.
But he was doing the safe thing. If you got any
Mhm.
questions about your shot, you should probably back out and
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about it.
No, and everything they were talking about looked good, seemed good with it. And then we were tracking blood. He actually brought his dog out, to track or kind of get on the track with him. And she wanted to go right where that buck was, where we ended up finding
Yeah,
him.
I think she
I think she scented him way before when we crossed the creek.
Yeah, we were downwind when we were walking into First Blood.
Mhm.
I definitely think that dog winded that deer in the tall swale there.
Oh, 100%. Because we were only like 30 yards where we crossed the creek. He was laying right there. And but it's 6 foot, 7 foot tall canary grass,
It
golden
was
rock.
thick.
It was thick swale right there. Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, so I guess congrats to everybody that's killed. I have not yet.
You've been running around and doing all this other. Every time I talk to him, like, you out? No, I got this to do.
Yeah,
It's still early though.
still early. I got a bunch of patterns and stuff, so. I do love that one.
That'll warm you up.
It is good.
Well, it comes out a little hot. I mean, it's barrel proof. That one's 116.8. So she's a little warm.
Yeah, that'll warm you up.
But
That's
good one.
That's a good little sipper.
Yep.
Me,
No,
I think I would prefer it on the rocks. I like the rocks on my whiskey.
Yeah, cool it a little bit.
Yeah.
Give it that. Yep, and you get different flavor, I think, on the rocks versus sipping straight too. You get pick up.
I'm
on
not. I
different
guess
things.
I'm not a man's man in that area. I like it a little watered down. I guess
That's all right.
Whiskey and water.
A little
Yeah.
whiskey and water. That's all right. I actually like my coffee with a little water in it.
Yeah.
I like to make a kind of a smaller cup of coffee and then just kind of cut it, like a quarter of it with water, just to cool it down, and I can drink it right away in the morning. And I think it tastes better personally, but maybe I'm just a light roast guy. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, buying too many dark roasts, got to lighten it down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, other than that, I mean, been good sits. That was the only morning that I've sat was that one where I bumped that buck. So, and like I said, I had 1 year rule, not for that specific buck, but a different buck in that spot. One my dad ended up letting kind of go that one night. Again, about 45 yards out. not something he felt comfortable with. So he let him, slip through without trying to take a poke at him. That was actually the deer I was trying to go in there to kill that morning on a 1-year rule. And come to find out after I pulled cards, the one that I bumped that we've been calling, I don't know if it's Bugs Bunny from last year, because last year was the Looney Tune themed bucks. I don't know if it's Bugs Bunny or a new buck, so right now I'm kind of temporarily calling him Hornet, because he's a new buck for 2022.
Hornet?
Yeah, for 22 Hornet.
Yeah. 22 Hornet, the
Yeah.
calibers.
For 2022.
I like
for
it.
him, just like I said, I think it's Bugs. I'm not 100%.
Never thought of that, actually, naming them after like gauges or calibers.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And they got a 12 point and 12 gauge.
Yep.
Got a 20 point named 20 gauge.
The 30-point buck.
The dupers or whatever
Yeah.
they're called.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, I mean, it was kind of a surprise. But then after I pulled the camera, that deer had been in there a lot. So, and I kind of just backed out of that spot, letting them get back to it, because I didn't bump him all that bad. So, yeah, we'll see if he shows back up and I get another crack at him. So I've seen that deer twice now from the field. Once from the stand and then once going to the stand, unfortunately. So, but yeah, and other than that, I'm probably going to sit a morning after this big warm-up we got. We got a real nice cold front, looks like coming in next weekend. And after that 70 degrees we're going to get, I think that's just going to snap that right into perfect timing, right around Halloween.
Halloween weekend's going to be the big kickoff for the.
I think a lot of deer are going to hit the ground, which a lot of deer already are, but we've been having nice cold fronts.
This week's been down in the low temperatures, pretty good.
Yep.
I think it's really getting them moving, getting them started, pre-rut,
Mm-hmm.
and then. But I think this week ahead of us, this weekend and week, is going to warm up again. I think it's going to put a little damper on it, but then I think the following weekend, Halloween weekend, is going to be cold again, and
yeah,
I think it's really going to kick it off.
Yep. Yeah, and then Connor's buck, textbook cold front buck, mid-October cold front, sitting food, and he came right into those turnips. So,
Right,
I mean, that can be
old tin cup turnips.
all right. Yeah, we can put a little plug on there. Little plug on there. But yeah, no, you came into that little turnip plot that Connor got in, and pretty good growth on it for getting it in as late as you got it in. But
it looks good.
Yeah, nice, lush, full. Overseeded it a little bit. I think he'd have a little bit better growth height-wise. But
overall, I thought.
But he's learning.
Good. Yeah.
But it's looking good. We saved that plot. That was actually looking real yellow. Actually, I think it was the second or third day of season. He went out there with a big bag of urea and spiced it up and got the green growing back into it. I think it was a little nitrogen deficient from being so crowded.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in there. He was actually in there after a different buck that was there the night before.
Yeah.
And
actually ended up getting a better buck than what he was.
A better one than what he was in there looking
after.
for. So it all worked out good,
Yep.
And I think it was only, 18 yards?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. That's where I like him, right? At 20 and in.
Yep. Yeah, and then I
Drop
got
the
out.
top pin on him and let him go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I got out of work today and had one or two other errands. Like you said, I've been running errands like crazy lately, it seems.
Awesome.
But while trying to build my brownie points for, end of October and November.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I went over there, took a couple pictures with him, Rachel, and baby Lane today.
Yeah, they turned out nice.
And I actually got Connor to smile, Rachel to smile, and Lane to smile all in one picture. So don't ask me how I did it, but I'm taking bookings for child portrait photos with dead animals.
Hey, I'll sign Owen up for it.
Yeah.
Which he might make an appearance tonight. I'm not sure. Liza said she might drag him out here, but
That'd be awesome.
Owen
Absolutely.
might show up. But yeah, I think I've hunted a couple mornings over on one of my pieces that I hunt. I haven't hunted a morning over in Clifton, and I think tomorrow morning is going to be it. I think I'm going to sneak over there. Southwest wind's been kind of tough the way my properties.
It's been all south.
Kind of. We talked about that a little before about how you set up your pieces, for a prominent wind versus an optimal wind.
Yep.
And then we touched on that in a previous episode, and then sometimes the way the terrain just lays out of your property, it's kind of hard to hunt certain winds because you're one-sided. Half of it's wide open field and the other half is woods, and you can really only hunt it on a certain wind without bumping stuff. So
Yeah. No, or the way you have to access it, like you said, with a wide open field, that can completely change what you got for available stands. But yeah, other than that, I guess other highlights from this weekend's hunt. I've passed a couple bucks this year too, and some of my afternoon sits I did this weekend. But I've been seeing a lot of fox. I mean, if it was fox season, I mean, I've had my fair share of fox within range this year.
yeah.
So waiting on that 25th, I think, is the opening day of fox. Had a raccoon come under me too, big raccoon that again I would have slung one at. Had it been obviously open season, but yeah. So a lot of fox around. Seen a hunting pair. I've seen one big female. My dad's seen the one big female too. She marks everywhere. She's been all over the place. Cameras from the stand, we've seen her. She's a hunting fool. So we're not the only ones out there trying to make a living and eat stuff.
No. Yeah, I had I don't know what it was, a fox or a coyote. A couple of them run by me this afternoon when I was getting out of the stand. Kind of around 6:50 when I was climbing down, and I don't know what they were. It was just dark. It was dark enough in the woods. They were only like 30 yards away, but I couldn't really pick up what they were. But I definitely think they were a fox or a coyote.
Yep. So yeah, they're around. Coyotes open, and obviously if I see one of them, it's going to be game on. But it's I I'm like 0 for 4. I think I'm trying to shoot fox with my bow. I've killed quite a few coyotes, but never been able to get that fox. Shot that black raccoon that you see at the bar.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yep, got him with the bow a couple years back. But
yeah, I missed the turkey.
Yeah, you said you're walking out.
I missed the turkey. I was walking out, and they were right there the laneway, and 30 yards, and I clipped up on the bow, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and take one, and I think they knew I was there because their heads were up, and I think they knew I was there, but they weren't moving fast.
Yep.
They were just kind of hanging there. And then once that ball went off, they did a quick movement, and my arrow went just left them. It was fun. I tried.
Yeah. Clean miss is better than nicking them or something.
Yeah.
But no, especially when they're on alert, it's tough. They hear that noise go off, and they're like a nerve ball with feathers. That's all a turkey is.
They can move fast.
Oh yeah.
Quick.
Yep.
When they want to, they're split second. They're
out of the picture. But yeah, so no. Other than that, I mean, that was kind of the highlights from the last week since the last episode, really. And I've been I might get out. I think I can get out tomorrow night too. I think I'm gonna have an afternoon sit tomorrow. Got to check the board and see what we got on the 1 year rule, and see what we got going on. Got a little bit of intel. I pulled a couple cameras on the couple sits I've had on the way out. I can grab 1 or 2 cameras, and like we talked, I kind of break the property down into different zones. So during the times I got, a deer in that zone historically, I'll go back in and try to, get after them. Actually, that good testament to the 1 year rule was that spot I went down into where I passed Clipper that night. That morning, St. Patrick was in there, and that was the buck I was hunting on the 1 year rule. So he was there
before,
the morning of, and I was there that afternoon. He was there, like an hour and a half before daylight by that camera. So he was down in that zone of the farm like he was supposed to be. When he kind of slots down into that spot, and
so they'll be in the. So you're saying they'll be in the area. They're not going to be, in their footprints from last year, but they'll definitely be around probably.
Yeah, like I said, I usually break it down into zones. Every property is a little different. It's usually 1 or 2 zones, usually, and then ours splits a little different because it's kind of 2 sides of the road. So we got I think I got it broken down to like 6 zones total. And then I kind of see where they're at and kind of where they're hanging out, and maybe it's between zones, 2 and 3 or whatever, and that's where I'll try to target them again. But like we talk about, having the right wind, having the right conditions to get in and hunt the spots. Like I'm not just going to go in there if I need a west wind and it's blowing southeast that night. I'm not going to go in there. and hunt a stand. I might try to find a stand in that zone I can hunt, but
Still want to hunt it smart.
yep, got to hunt it smart. So yeah, but yeah, this last sit probably before this big warm up, I think could definitely yield good success. Like like I said with Connor's last night, that was like textbook on the backside of the cold front, coming good feed,
Just a matter of being there when they're there.
unpressured, good access. I mean, with that spot, he kind of goes right down the edge of the neighbors, blows a scent onto the neighboring piece. It's really good access to get into that spot, get out at night, and he's got a nice ag field he can kind of blow scent out over to with it, and not really any crop out there, kind of like just a pasture lot, really.
Yeah, there's just cattle out there.
Yep.
I think some
Yep.
some Mennonites got some beef cattle
Yep.
out there.
Big
Black
deer,
Angus.
deer free zone, blow that scent out into it.
Yep.
And,
Perfect.
Yeah, he swung right in there, and he messed up. First time in the turnips was his last,
Yep.
but that was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun tracking that.
Yeah. Like I said, we were expecting, because he didn't, tell us any details really other than about the shot, and didn't really talk about the buck.
Oh yeah, he, like showed us a picture of what Bucky thought it was, but Bucky thought it wasn't even close.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not the same looking. I mean,
there
there
was
was
better bucks.
same. I would say they're same caliber.
caliber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same caliber buck for sure. But the other one kind of looks like that goofy one that he had a couple years ago on camera. Kind of similar. Kind of shaped to his rack.
Yeah, he didn't have. Yeah, definitely.
But definitely a good buck. But,
Yeah, and then I guess what else I've been up to, I guess, in between hunting sits and taking care of little Owen and family stuff. I know I chimed in last week about going through freezer inventory, seeing how much venison I had left over from the previous year.
Oh yeah, making
just
space.
to see what I got, so my wife doesn't have to buy so much at the grocery store. Maybe just kind of break it out and actually know what you got in the freezer is not a bad thing to do. But yeah, I ended up having a lot of extra venison, a lot more than I thought I did. So I took a bunch out and I contacted you, and you let me use your dehydrator and put mine together, and I did a whole ton of jerky, which we're kind of snacking on. Here tonight. It turned out pretty good. I used some odds and ends stuff that I had left over from previous mixes. But I think this one, the one we're chewing on is legs. I got it off of Amazon. It's called legs seasoning. But yeah, it's good. Turned out well. Put in the dehydrator at right around 160 degrees for 9.5 hours. That was with the ground meat. And I used the round tube, not the flat one. So I bet you it would probably take less time if you actually use the flat one, because it actually thins it out.
Yeah, but I kind of like those. They kind of like almost like a meat stick kind of mix.
Yeah. I thought they turned out good.
Yeah, and I think you almost get more. I don't know. It just seems like you get more product when you make the sticks rather than the sheets or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, the flat.
Yeah, but I do usually do a little bit of both. But yeah, that's my plan for when it's 70 this upcoming weekend and stuff. I gotta rebuild a shed for Hannah's grandma that we bought her. Again, one of my errands I've been running. Found her a nice garden shed to store her craft wreaths in and stuff like that. So I gotta build the platform for that and put that back together. So, but yeah, no, it's coming together. Like I said, I'm getting itchy for it to be cool, crisp, and take some good time. Take some good time with them cruising bucks moving through. I mean, we're
getting there. We're a couple weeks out, I think.
But they're laying down a lot of sign. Connor's buck hit a couple scrapes before.
Flaps knocked things over.
Sorry.
Well, he's getting into that jerky bag.
Yeah, digging around the jerky bag.
But
Papa Bear digging around the jerky bag.
Yeah. But no, they're hitting scrapes, especially if we're getting any precip with this. I see them hitting those scrapes and freshening them up. I mean, a lot of your camera pulls, you had a lot of increased buck activity hitting those scrapes.
Yeah, a ton of it. Usually dark. It's not during the day activity. It's definitely anywhere from, let's say, 8:30 p.m. to 4:30 in the morning, and then it just seems to taper off throughout the rest of the day with the buck movement. A couple times, I mean, if I sat at the right stand or went to the right property, I probably would have punched my tag.
Yep.
But, you know, cameras, they're a blessing and a curse, and that's,
Oh yeah.
you're like, I was hunting that night, he was right there, and I decided to go over. Oh, you know.
Yep.
But, you know, you play the wind, you try and do it the best you can, and
Yep.
those cameras sometimes make you kick yourself.
Oh yeah. No doubt. But especially those nights, like you said, you were out, and then you look at the camera, and you're like, dude, I was 200 yards away.
I know, he was right there.
Yep, he's right there, and I was over there. But
Yeah,
no.
yeah, it was like tonight. I was kind of curious if one of the bucks I'm after was down hitting that one scrape, and I was sitting 100 yards up the field in a different stand.
Mhm.
And so when I left, and I had those coyotes or fox or whatever run by me, whatever they were, I got out to the field edge, and there was a looked like a pretty good bodied sized deer hauling ass up the hill.
Mhm.
And I don't think it had anything to do with me exiting. But
Yeah, because you gotta say he kind
I
of
think,
came towards you and then kind of ran up, almost like he was getting chased or something.
he was already halfway up the hill before I even made it out. But he was like 100 yards down the field, going straight up the hill.
Right.
I don't think it had anything to do with me, but I think it had something to do with those critters that ran by me.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if they were coyotes and bumped them out of there. But it was too dark, and I couldn't tell if it was a buck or a doe.
Right.
Whatever, but I knew it was a good bodied deer, so I'm kind of curious if I know the time frame and I know the date. So when I pull that camera, I'll log that back, and I'll go back and look and be like,
Yep,
that was that deer that was there.
Right.
If I got a picture of it.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Got a comment came in over on the YouTube. Can you explain the 1 year rule? Are you referring to bucks using the same time and pattern every year? Yeah. So, Miguel. So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's something I've found a lot of success in the last couple years. Looks like always making an appearance.
Always.
Oh my goodness.
There he is, the little man.
I'll get out of the way.
Merrily. Buddy.
Got his little bear suit on.
Yeah, he's a little black bear tonight. But anyways, you can get back to what you're talking about, Ben. Well,
Yeah, usually Owen tunes in with his tubby time.
yeah, usually he's getting a tubby listening to Dad and Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your 1 year rule for Miguel there.
Yeah, so Miguel's question about the 1 year rule. So that's something I found a lot of success in. My last 4 out of 5 bucks that I've ended up harvesting, I harvested on a 1 year rule. And I'll see them slot into different zones on a piece of property, year to year to year, especially some of these deer you have a lot of history with, or if you start, logging that data and information, it might not even be a specific deer, but might be when a specific doe gets hot, or something like that in a specific wood block or doe group or whatever.
Which we touched on in previous episodes about,
Yep.
About that doe, let's say, not being there, whether it got taken by a car or a hunter.
Yep.
And then that usually that does that travel in the same group or they're related and they would all cycle around roughly at the same time.
Yep, usually sync up and stuff like that, I've noticed. So, yeah, I would definitely say slotting into the same areas. And like Nate said, not slotting into the same hoof prints from the year before, but in the same zones. I've seen that year to year historically, and it's really something that you start putting the pictures to it and the data to it. It's kind of eye-opening how predictable some of these deer get year to year, or in specific spots year to year for sure.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, definitely.
But no, that's a good question. So,
What's that answered Miguel's question?
yep. So Owen's all passed out.
Yeah, he likes to sleep, which is good.
Yep.
Makes
That's
it
helpful.
a little easier on.
Well, he's gonna sleep now, but he'll be up maybe a little bit later.
Yeah. Yep. But,
But,
yeah, it was pretty cool with him. I was able to get a picture with him and the doe I took, and everything, and it was a fun moment for me,
Oh yeah,
for sure.
long time coming.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get there one day.
Hey, keep practicing.
Keep practicing.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. But no. So I guess what's your strategy going forward with this warm up coming? Are you going to be hunting at all? Or are you gonna? I know you're going back to work.
One, I'm going back to work. I'm off of the baby leave. So mornings during the week will be definitely cut out for me. My strategy going in is just getting back into the routine with work. If I have time after work and nothing too crazy is going on at home, I will try to be out there. I'm definitely going to try and I always try and pay attention to weather. If it's too warm and, I definitely don't want to try and wear myself out before it gets good. Definitely want to try putting in as much time as possible more towards Halloween on for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So this warm up coming up, it might be this coming week. For me, just might be getting back in the routine of work and
balancing baby.
Yep. Hunting would probably definitely come third, fourth on the list. So.
Yeah. No, I'm probably going to do a lot of the same. Like I said, I'm thinking I'm going to try to get out because I've been kind of ramming around and knocking out some projects and errands the last week, really. And I'm thinking going to get out tomorrow, and then right before all this big warm-up, I got to meet one of our...
It's Friday. It's supposed to warm up through the day, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to stay right about in this ballpark of temperatures. We've been getting 40s and 30s.
I like the looks of tomorrow morning. I'm excited about tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the right wind. Well, it's probably south-southwest. That's what it's been during this whole thing, which
this
is kind of...
It's going to be south-southwest. But it's kind of weird because it's, you're getting the cooler temperatures. But if you actually look at the overall picture of the United States, the southern states are actually cooler than...
Yeah, some of the stuff upstate.
Coming from Canada. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if you look at the big picture.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's kind of odd that we didn't get any north out of this. I figured we'd at least get 1 or 2 days where we get like a north-northwest or even just a pretty steady west, and we just haven't had it. It's all been all south-southwest for the most part. So if you got stands that work for that, works out good.
Yeah.
But if you're waiting for that west-northwest or you need that little trickle of the north in it, it's tough.
Yeah. I have one stand that probably one of my favorites, and it's definitely set up for a northerly wind, and I haven't been able to sit it this past week, and I've been kind of bummed about it.
You could call in, Liza. You're standing right next to us.
I'm gonna phone a friend. What temperature do you not process your own deer?
The 70 degrees coming up.
Yeah, I would. Unless you have a cooler, I would definitely try and get it to a processor.
Yeah.
Or take care of it that night.
Yeah, quarter it up and chunk it out at least.
Cooler, or at least on ice or something. So you can get to
So
it.
like anything below 50 degrees, you would do.
Yeah, you could hang that for sure.
60 degrees.
Well, I think
65?
bacteria really starts growing at 50 and above.
Yeah.
Anything below 50, bacteria kind of starts slowing down on its growth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, last couple of days have been
55
perfect.
And above.
I wouldn't hesitate hanging for a day or two with the weather we've had last couple of days.
Yeah, especially overnight. Shot at the evening, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You can hang it overnight.
Hides on or hides off?
I think that's preference. I'd leave the hide on for a night.
I'm usually a hide on guy.
My grandfather, he really pushes gotta get the hide off. It's gonna ruin it. Well, I don't think it ruins it. I think it's just an old school thing.
I think if you can get that chest cavity really cleared out with the hose, that makes a big difference if you keep the hide on or off.
Yeah, if you get them open and
cleaned out good and everything. Yeah, I think so. Keep that cool. And I mean, you're gonna lose some when you hang, no matter what. Doesn't matter how good it is, how you're gonna maybe have some contamination from
But that also goes, I mean, contamination could be from shot placement. It might not be from hanging. I mean, you touch the guts or anything, and anything gets in there, then you're probably gonna have a little stinky meat.
Yep. Yeah. And toss it right out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Give
want to eat that.
Give it the sniff test.
Some people, you know, everyone's got their own way of doing things. But
Yeah, I know some places over in Europe and stuff, they, dry age them for like months.
yeah,
And then they almost like cut like steaks off the top and then leave like the inner pieces. Almost
Yeah.
let it cure itself.
well, there's a process that people do with sausage. It's called dry aging. That if your temperature's right and it keeps your bacteria low, you can actually, if you can monitor your cooler, you just air dry this sausage. I think it's kind of like how pepperoni's made, really. You just kind of air dry it at a certain temperature, and over a certain amount of time, it's good. It's like a snack stick. It's almost like being in that dehydrator.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But yeah, we've been getting a little up and down. So a couple days right now is fine. Kind of let his buck hang overnight, and that was all good. But we took that back, hosed it out,
Yeah,
hit a little paunch on the exit. But yeah.
he says, "Yo, cold enough now." Yeah, I would definitely.
Yeah. That's my Uncle Keith.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, definitely cold enough now. But yeah, getting into these 60-degree days like Friday and stuff.
Keith, the one we helped move.
Yep.
Oh, Keith, how you doing, man?
Yep. So, so Keith's saying pretty much the European sausage, all European sausages like that, dry aged like that.
Ah, okay. Keith knows what I'm talking
Well,
about.
he's been all abroad and everything, traveled all over the place. So,
Yep.
So he's seen it, been there, done that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, a friend of mine, like I was saying, he did it. He's got his own little insulated cooler and some kind of chiller hooked up to it.
Mhm.
And Bart.
Yep.
And yeah, he did it. It was like 50-50. 50% of it didn't turn out so well, then the other 50% turned out good. So I'm not sure what the complications were on his end.
yeah. And then Keith commenting in again says this weekend's going to be too warm for sure. Yeah, I 100% agree. Even if you got something, I would say Friday night with the temps getting up in the high 40s, getting close to 50, and then getting right up into the 70s going into the weekend. I think it's, you could probably hang overnight and then work on it that Saturday, but your days of hanging for a day or two are definitely gone.
Limited.
Yeah.
For this week.
But no, like I said, a lot of guys, if you can get them broken down and chunked up and then work them off little by little here and there, it makes it a lot more manageable. Or call a couple buddies and come to the skin and shed and, we all sit down like little Keebler elves with our knives and work them up.
Yeah, I mean, we've cut a lot of deer up.
Yeah. So
Besides the last year, I didn't do too much. It just seemed like I didn't have time.
Well, the temps were so warm last year too. We couldn't hang and we couldn't, get everybody coordinated with it. A lot of it.
Yeah.
It was tough last year.
Plapp's always ready to cut deer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Always.
He was ready to cut that doe up. He didn't even know I gave it to Grandpa. Plapp's
Yep.
always ready.
Yep. But Miguel said, "What's on tap tonight?" It says, "Nice keg fridge" with a big smiley face.
That is Crafty Ales and Lagers here in Phelps. That's their tangerine wheat.
Yep. Which actually, I think we had that on one of our other episodes. We had the Crowler.
Actually, my bull buck last year, we got done hanging. We're doing those little alterations to some of my spots, and we came back because, of course, for some reason Ben tells me this. I pick either the hottest or rainiest day to do any work on any of my stuff. So it was super hot out. So we came back and we were having a couple beers after we were done doing everything, and it was tangerine wheat. So actually, we said if I shot a buck out of that stand and we were drinking tangerine wheat, we'd have to call him Tangerine Buck. So he's on the wall in there, Tangerine Buck. That's my bull buck last year.
Yep. So no, it all works out. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got you hear it like stickers or something. Like everybody's got their own like generic names, but I think it's cool to have like Looney Tunes names or like Tangerine Wheat, cool names like that are real unique to that deer. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, you pick a theme. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You just kind of roll with the theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But Keith says keep the knives ready. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, like I said, next weekend. I got a really good feeling. You know,
Yeah, after the
warm up
you
and
get
the
that
drop.
second cold snap.
Yeah.
Well, I think that second cold snap's going to stick a little better than this one.
Yeah. But I mean,
We'll see,
even if you look at the projected temperatures, I mean, we're almost getting like 25, 30 degree swings into the night. So the nights are going to be cool, but it's going to ramp right back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like you said, it's going to, once it drops, it's going to drop and stay, a lot steadier.
Yeah.
Got a little Indian summer action coming here in late October.
Mm-hmm.
So, but.
Then he says, is it a sour? No, the beer is not a sour. I believe it's like just a
it's kind of like
Belgian wheat beer.
Yeah, kind of like a Belgian wheat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just a lager.
Yeah, kind of like a Blue Moon, but with a tangerine.
Yeah.
Instead of the kind of orange peel kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like
citrus.
A Blue Moon.
Yep.
It's got a little twist of like a Blue Moon to it.
Yep. But no, it's a good one. It's usually a pretty good staple out here in the shed.
Yeah, I usually give Mike a call and whatever sixtel he's got.
Yep.
Hanging around, I can pick up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Cash and
absolutely
throw it in the deer shed.
Yeah. Billy Harvey, way back when we started, says he can call in. We haven't done any of the call-in stuff. I don't know how that would work. Let me see here. Let's see if I can add this in. I don't know if I'll be able to hear him or not.
I don't know. Is he still on?
I don't know. I'm trying to see if he's still on over the Bullhorn app or not. This is all new to me. I've never run the Bullhorn. Well, we only have like one subscriber on the Bullhorn. It's Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
But he actually shot a really old, kind of gnarly buck last week.
Oh, did he?
Yep. Yeah, really cool buck. Really cool buck. But yeah, I can't get it to dial up. Oh, 0 active callers. That's why. Yeah. So we're trying. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to be as tech savvy as we can and do it from different venues. We got Ben's Bar, we got Skin and Shed.
Yeah.
We tried to get Connor to come on tonight and talk about his buck, but
he was busy at family stuff.
Family party stuff, and kept saying, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, some people get a little camera shy.
That's all right. Like I said, we're just sitting out here, having a couple of beers and talking about deer and obviously a little whiskey to start it off, and it's kind of the night, how it usually goes.
Yep.
But Keith says white beer. I'm assuming he's putting an accent on it.
Yeah. Must be from Europe or something.
Belgium. Dutch. Yep. But
I think we're all Dutch here.
And some, we're some Swedish, German, Dutch.
Yeah. A mix of that in that area.
Yep, that region of it, for sure. But you too?
Yeah. Oh, I got a side there.
He's got a comment in, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's everything we had jotted down on the list, and like always, we take the questions and everything when they come in. But let me think. We got holiday season this year, which you capitalized on last year.
Yeah, I got a beautiful muzzleloader buck 26 last year.
Mm-hmm.
You were with me.
Yep. And they still got the corn on over at your one piece. I think they're gonna get out there and what'd you say? Shuck it, because it's not picked.
Yeah, so I got corrected by my grandfather because talking about how farmers, I guess, harvest corn differently.
Mm-hmm.
There's the old way, which is picking, and that is when you have the whole ear of corn dried and you put it into a corn crib.
Yep.
Like we have a couple behind the house here is what my mom's pointing at. And then you have shelling,
mm-hmm.
is what you were referring to.
Yep.
Shelling is when the combine takes the whole stalk in, the ear, and it actually shells all of the kernels off of the actual cob.
Yep.
and then you actually get just
Kernels.
the kernels
Yep.
in your combine, and that's what a lot of people would say that don't know refer to that as picking. It's actually shelling.
Yep.
Then obviously you have your chopping, which farmers use for silage for feed for the cattle.
Yep. Gotcha.
And usually you get the farmers that harvest their corn early are for silage,
Yep.
and then usually about a month later or so, 3 to 4 weeks later, they'll start shelling the corn. Not many people still pick corn, but I guess the West Falls, my neighbors still do pick some corn. They use it for feed.
Gotcha. Interesting. So there's your agricultural lesson of the night.
I got corrected. My grandfather spent his whole life farming. He definitely had to correct me.
Yep. So Billy actually texted me and he said he's in the queue. So I guess we'll try this right now. Let's see if this works. I don't know. Queue with questions, Billy.
Hey.
Let me see if I can. Oh, Billy's in.
Billy, I think we hear you.
I can hear you. Is it working?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think it's working.
Hello? Ben?
You there, Bill?
Hey. Yeah.
All right.
All right, we can hear you. It actually works.
Is your audio up all the way?
Or not.
I'd be playing through your speaker.
Audio's up all the way.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, if you can hear me. Does that work?
Oh, perfect. That's a lot better.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you now. That's definitely better.
So
What's going
thanks for
on?
being
Anything?
the first caller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like you guys needed a lifeline. You were drowning over there. Drowning in terrible stories about
Oh,
picking.
thanks. You know, I mean, we're working on it. We're not as good as pert near yet, but we're getting there.
There.
We're pert near there.
You are. No, I was gonna call in because I'm out cutting up my deer right now. So I was thinking this was relevant conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, man. Absolutely.
So what are you doing there? How you processing it?
So I shot him last Friday night, and you guys were wondering how long people let him hang for or whatever, and with the temperature. So I actually I decided I never got to cutting him over the weekend, but I ended up leaving him hanging in the garage. And during the day, I'd close the garage up and try to keep it dark and some air flowing in here, and probably kept it in the 50s in the garage, I would say. It got up to mid 60s during the day Sunday, I think. But I was able to keep it cool enough in the garage, and then at night I'd open the garage up and let it cool down in here. And then obviously the last couple of days have been good, but I'm cutting it now, skinned it last night, cutting it up now, and I'm pretty happy with how the meat's looking. Everything looks really good.
Nice. Did you get a lot of that blackening on the I guess the outside of any exposed meat?
No, not really. The only exposed meat, and I think a lot of people gut their deer differently, but when we gut them the way we do, the only exposed skin is really like just right around the hams, but not much. We try not to take too much of the hide off there. So
then you just trim that off when you're processing?
Yeah, it's exactly where I'm at right now. I've been processing stuff on my own. We don't have the crew together out here like we used to cut up. Since COVID, it kind of threw everything sideways a little bit, and everybody's just kind of been doing their own thing. So I've actually, instead of breaking the whole deer down and putting it on the table and everybody chopping away at it, I'm just got it hanging here by the gambrel in the garage, and I'm just kind of cutting meat off as I go. And once you get a process down, it's not too bad at all. I cut it up. I put it in those little lugs that you get from Lem, and I take them into the house and sit at the island and cut away, and then come out and get some more.
Yeah.
Works pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Good way
So
to do it.
so walk us through the hunt, because I don't think I haven't heard the full story from you. So
Yeah.
kind of tell everybody listening about the hunt.
So like you said, this buck was we named him Chubby. He was extremely visible around the property on the trail cameras all summer and then into the fall. And his body is just his body did not fit his horns. Like he just was a 5-pointer. He had 14-inch spread, 3 points on the one side and a long spike on the other. And he just was like, it's just like not a very impressive rack, but his body was just amazing. So I right off the bat, like I'm not completely hooked on score. I'm a meat hunter primarily, and I want to shoot a buck, and but I want to shoot a mature buck. And to me, that just his body and everything that we were seeing from him compared to some of the other deer is that he was right up there with body size compared to the other deer we are seeing on the farm that we're kind of interested in. So I raised my hand and said, I'll shoot Chubby. I'm not shy, and last Friday night was my second opportunity to get out and have a sit. And that morning at like 5:30ish in the morning, the weather was great end of last week, and we had Chubby and another buck we call Norwood, who's got 2 kickers off of each of his G2s. That's the other buck that we're seeing a lot that we're after, and they were both headed to bed together, and we hadn't seen the two of them hanging together, and the wind was right and everything to hunt the back food plot that we're very careful about hunting in there because it's where all the deer hang out. It's a good spot, and so it looked like it was going to work out for me to go in there on Friday night, and I got in there undetected at like 5. I was like set up at like 5:10, and by 5:15, the first 2 yearling bucks came out in the food plot, and that basically from that point on, the whole rest of the night until I shot him right at last light, it was just nonstop activity with just bucks. Now, I didn't see a single doe. It was all bucks, and every single one of the bucks came out, and they were fighting and squaring up with each other, and not like knockout, drag out fighting, but just kind of sizing each other up and feeding, just hanging out. So it ended up being 10 bucks together in that back half of the property, not a single doe. And long story short,
guys' night before they got to go meet up with all their wives.
Yeah, before they break up and start trying to breed them,
Yep.
And so the Chubby ends up coming from about 150 yards out, comes into about 38 yards, and I haven't been practicing that much, and I'm not terribly confident out past 30 yards. So I was like, even though it was a broadside shot and he was calm, I let him walk, and I was like, well, it's just not going to happen tonight. And I'm watching him at about 60 or 70 yards out in the food plot, and I'm watching him through the binoculars. I had sat down at this point, and all of a sudden in the binoculars, I see him and the other deer running straight at me. And I'm like, holy shit. And I drop the binoculars, and they come running right back to me. And it ended up being a red fox was sneaking down the hedgerow and spooked them. And the 4 bucks, Chubby and the other 3 yearlings, turn and just run right back towards the woods where I'm sitting in the stand. And he ends up at that point settling down, and then he ended up feeding in to be in broadside at 30 yards, and set the pin. I got a single pin, set it to 30 yards, drew back, and I almost yipped one off, and thank God I didn't have my finger on the trigger of the release, and I settled back in and took a deep breath and put it behind his shoulder mid mass and just let it rip, and I ended up perfect double lung right behind the shoulder. And he never left the food plot. He ran probably 80 yards and tipped over, and I could hear him choking and coughing, and that lasted for about 10, 15 seconds, and that was it. It was over. So I was pretty fired up. Second sit of the year to sit like that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, sounds like an eventful hunt for sure.
Action packed.
So for everybody looking, there's Billy Harvey with Chubby buck, and he dressed 166. dressed, I think you said.
One,
on the
yeah,
post?
167 if we're rounding up.
Rounding up, 167.
But I don't know what the rule of thumb is for how much their guts weigh. But his stomach was just gigantic. He must have been eating all freaking day.
He's pushing 190, 200.
That's what I think. I think
live weight.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
say probably somewhere between 30 and 40 pounds. Would be
easy.
gut weight.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the fat on him. I'm working on the hindquarters right now. The fat I'm cutting off of him is impressive. He was thick, man. So now the pressure's off.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a good name for him.
Yeah.
He was definitely chubby.
Yeah, that's definitely the pre-rut weight.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, he would have run it off for sure.
Yeah,
but
actually, the buck that Liza's dad shot, I mean, he slimmed down immensely after the rut.
Yeah,
I mean, that deer only dressed 145, but he was a 4.5-year-old all day long.
Yeah,
or better.
He shot him opening day at gun last year, and that deer was everywhere. I got so many pictures of that deer.
Yeah,
he just kept dodging me through bow season. I couldn't line up with him. But
not
father-in-law and the wife, they went out there opening morning, and the father-in-law was able to take him. And
chasing a doe.
I mean, yeah, he was a bruiser, man. I mean, I don't know if he was between rubbing and fighting and everything else. I mean, he had his antlers all. I think the white, whatever you call it, on the outside. That was wore right down to the inside.
It was wore right down to the core, on his tips, on his beams, everything.
All of his points weren't pointed anymore. They're all rounded right off.
Jesus.
He was definitely active for sure, but that was he had no fat on him.
Not an ounce. Not an ounce, dude.
I think he was definitely the breeder over in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, he was breeding them all.
At least that year, he was the man over there. He was pushing everything off and taking care of business.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But that was cool. That father-in-law hasn't shot a good buck in years, so that was really exciting for all of us. But,
yeah. So.
I guess that's
Bill, I'm all good.
I just wanted to share that story with you.
Yeah, that's cool. Appreciate it.
No, I like it. I like this.
That's a good story.
I like the call in. I can see how you deal with the delay a little bit. We get a little bit of a delay, back and forth with the conversation. But I think this is definitely a cool feature with the bullhorn and being able to stream it across everything like we talk about. By having people literally be able to call in, not just drop a question on the YouTube or Facebook, but actually call in and share a story or ask a question or contribute to the conversation. That's really cool with this.
Yeah, I had no idea
for sure.
You could do that. It's very cool. So when Bill, so with your processing of the deer, I mean, you obviously grind your own meat, right?
Yes, sir.
You got a grinder?
So what we do, our family.
Do you cut it with anything? Let's say pork or beef fat, or you just grind it straight through?
Oh, hold on. It says I'm muted. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yep.
Okay. It said that I was muted. So we typically cut all of our sausage with pork, and we also cut our ground burger with pork. We've tried some different stuff. The last couple of years, I've tinkered with some different mixtures. So like last year, I used straight pork fat instead of pork butt, and I really liked the way that the flavor was of that. But you just don't need to go as heavy because that fat is just it's just straight fat. It's not, a mixture of meat and fat. But also beef fat. I used fat last year, and I was really happy with the way that meat turned out too. So we typically.
I gotta say with the burger, I would prefer the beef fat over the pork, but definitely in sausage, you want to have pork because You want the grease.
Yeah, I agree. And we used to always do our seasoning with the grinding of the meat. So like we would do like chorizo seasoning and Italian and all that different stuff, breakfast. So we would like pre-season the meat when we do the mixing and through the grinder and into our packaging. But that got to the point where we actually we're finding that the flavor is better if you just do just straight burger and then you mix your seasoning, whatever seasoning you want to put with the meat when you want to cook it. The flavor seems to be much more robust and the meat just tastes better. I think when you let's say you put seasoning in there and you let it sit in the package for 6 to 8 months and then you go to cook it, the seasoning kind of loses a little bit of its luster and you don't realize that you're eating breakfast sausage because it's not just popping in your taste buds.
Right. I found that, I mean, if you definitely use like a dry seasoning or you take the powdered seasoning, cut it with water and mix it all up, definitely letting it sit in the refrigerator overnight, at least for 8 hours, to let the meat absorb the seasoning definitely helps also.
Oh yeah, I did that not by choice, but by circumstance last year, and I couldn't agree more with you. That and I think like anybody who does like commercial sausage, like they don't just throw the seasoning in and then just put it right through the stuffer. There's a process to letting it kind of get, like you're saying, sit there in the fridge. So that's the fun part about doing all this, is that you just kind of keep learning and keep adjusting your mixtures and your approaches, and everything just kind of keeps getting better and better. It's the fun part about doing it on your own.
Yeah, and then when it comes to the jerky side of things, I would prefer. I mean, if I was to plan on making jerky after I harvested an animal, I wouldn't cut it with any fat. I would just leave the jerky straight venison. I think it turns out better that way.
How do you do yours? Like, do you use
I do
a
it multiple ways. I mean, I've done muscle meat. I've done, use the grind, but I'm talking like grind. If you did it through a jerky gun, as through the tube or the flat thing, because like I guess I mentioned it earlier in the episode here. Bunch of burger that I had left over from last year that I had cut with some pork fat. I actually turned it into jerky, and it was kind of greasy. It was it actually took a little longer to dry, and you get a little bit of those fat clumps in your jerky. Where I don't know, I guess I would prefer a little more lean jerky. So if you were actually planning on making jerky when you're cleaning up your animal, I think if you ground it, just don't use any of your pork or beef fat with it. I think I would just use the straight ground venison and label it jerky and put it in the freezer.
Yeah, I agree with that. The one thing that we do that really makes it a lot of fun is that we don't grind any of our meat when we're actually butchering the deer originally. We'll burger it up. When we say burger, we mean just kind of chunk it and then make sure you put it in an unscented garbage bag, and then just make sure you get as much air out of it as possible and throw it in the freezer. And then we usually get together with the whole crew, 15, 20 of us. Everybody brings their meat, and we do one big grind day. And it's a lot of fun. It gets everybody together after season, and you're just solely focused on grinding the meat. You don't have to worry about getting all the equipment out and using it and then cleaning it.
Yeah, my uncle does something similar. I think they call it a sausage party, for a lack of a better term. But, yeah, they do that. They just chunk it up into cubes, kind of like you would take it to a specialty place to get sticks or salamis made. You just chunk it up,
trim it and chunk it. Yeah,
and you bring them to chunks and they process it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get together and
Oh yeah.
pick a day or a weekend and process it all. See you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the fun part of deer, man. It's the whole package.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're in the skinning shed for episode 7, because this is where a lot of stuff goes down.
Yeah, the past couple of years, it seems I guess that was kind of my when I bought this shed, it was kind of my little envisionment to kind of set it up to, I guess, have a little fun in, be able to work a little in it, and be able to, I guess, clean up and process my own deer. Really, I mean, it was kind of the whole point in it. Have a little storage. And it's kind of worked out pretty good for as little as a building it is. It's only 12 by 24. But
It does the job,
How
man.
tall?
it does it.
How
It
tall
works.
is it?
We finally got the propane tank set up last year.
We're,
How
I
tall?
don't know, what, 8 foot maybe? Probably 8 foot tall.
Yeah, that's 8 foot tall.
8 foot.
Nice.
So I mean, if you got a big doe, I mean, Liza's doe and my doe in here, they were long. I mean, they were pretty close to noses on the floor. But Dave's buck was nose on the floor. We couldn't get his nose off the floor. Yep.
There's been a few, but I haven't had a head laying on the ground yet. When I've had it all the way up on the electric winch,
That's not free.
I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I don't know. 8 foot seems to do the job for the most part. I mean, I just, I think like most people, you just cut them through in between the knee
hocks,
and
yep.
the hocks and the tendon. You just slip your hook in there and hang them up. So I guess from there down, I mean, most deer that I've shot, I mean, haven't stretched over 8 foot from there.
Tarsals to nose. I mean, tarsal to nose 8 foot. That's a long deer.
Yeah.
So
Do you is it insulated or no?
nope.
No, not yet.
But you could if you wanted to, right?
Oh yeah, I could. I just have to take everything down, and I would probably just use bats. I don't think I would spray foam it. I can't believe how expensive spray foam is. I looked into it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah. You guys were talking about.
I got a little. Say that again.
I said you guys were talking about coolers, and you could pretty easily turn that thing into a cooler without a whole lot of work.
Yeah, I need a garage. And once I build a garage, and then maybe I could turn like a 6 by 6 foot area into just a little cooler I could hang 2-3 deer in. For some buddies or whatever. Yeah, that would definitely be cool. But right now, it's kind of my garage. It's got all my toys, my tools, my everything.
Motorcycle sitting right here.
I got my motorcycle, 4-wheeler, toolbox, welder. I got everything in here.
Yeah.
But I need
Nice.
a garage. That's on the docket.
All right, I think I'm gonna check out.
But
my
yeah,
neck sore from holding the phone.
Yeah, you got to get back to cutting your deer up.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Bill. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, boys. Have fun. Good luck to you.
All right.
Yep.
Keep
See ya.
feeding them.
Thank you.
Feed 'em.
Feed 'em. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Got a neat little feature that we discovered and that Bill showed us.
Yeah.
Or
Then
Billy or Bill, whatever. Sorry if you
Bill,
prefer
Billy.
to be called Billy.
William, if he's in trouble.
William, you're in trouble.
But no, so we actually had a couple comments come in on the Facebook while Bill was on the line. So I'm assuming everybody could hear Billy too. I mean, we don't know.
I hope so.
We could hear him.
Hannah, you're listening.
Yeah.
Hannah, just send us a comment saying that you could hear Bill
Yep. But
on the phone.
so a couple comments that came in on the Facebook side of the podcast was Nate Paddock, who's Clayton's brother. They're twins.
Okay.
So Nate says, "You guys doing any type of calling?"
I would definitely start doing a little calling right now. I wouldn't get super aggressive with it. Okay, thanks, Hannah.
Soft grunts, light
tickle. I mean,
especially next week.
Yeah, and then I'd say right around Halloween on, I'd say you can start getting a little more aggressive with your calling. That's kind of would be my plan for this year.
Sorry, we're getting your comment 20 minutes after the fact. Nate, but hopefully you're still tuning in. He's got a baby too.
I think I ran into him at
He looks just like Clayton. Well, they're
I
twins.
I think I mistaked him as Clayton, and then we got talking, and Jake was with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ran into him at Walmart in Newark a little while back, but
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. My wife, of course, my wife would make this kind of comment. It's a pretty
That's a good one.
pretty studied comment. Has he looked at the jaw to age him? So Hannah's curious about the age of Billy's buck. I don't know. Billy's coming out here in the next couple days. I'm going to meet up with him. He's got to do some business out here. He works for, he's basically a school bus dealer. So he deals with a lot of the school districts out here. So he's dropping off
Okay.
a couple of the Pertinier hoodies for me and
I
stuff
don't know
like
if
that.
I've ever heard of that job, but someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to deal school buses.
Just never even thought about it.
So he's going to be out here in the next couple of days. So I'm going to have to ask him or send him a text and tell him to bring that jaw over to check it out because he's processing them. So
Yeah, Bill, don't bring that jaw over. Don't throw that out.
yeah, don't throw the jaw out. I'm curious because, I mean,
Said he had a history with him.
3+
for a couple years.
easy.
Right?
I mean, dressing at 160, a 3.5-year-old all day long or better.
Yeah.
So, and like we've always talked about this, you and me.
He was a butterball for sure.
Oh yeah. So you and me have always talked about this, like, you have those superstar 2-year-old, 3-year-old deer, but then you have, I mean, St. Patrick's a good example over on our farm. I mean, he's probably a 6. I think he's 6 this year, and he's maybe 130. I mean, he's not much better than the buck Connor shot the other night, and he's like 6 years old. Like that deer is that's it. That's what he's always been, literally. So I mean, some deer just aren't.
They're all different.
Made to be
just
booners.
like people. They all
Yep.
got different mix of genetics.
Yep.
Every deer doesn't have the same genetics. They're just like humans. I mean, we're
Some are
animals.
taller, some are shorter.
We just got thumbs and a little more intelligent brain. At least most of us a little more intelligent brain.
Yeah, but no, I'd be curious on his chubby buck what he aged out at.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, that'd be cool to know.
But, and then Bo Hunt commented $10 with a kind of perplexed face emoji.
$10. Oh,
Yeah. So in mixed ag areas, I mean, you can get into those $10 properties. I mean,
Oh, he was talking about Billy's comment about the
yeah, about seeing all those bucks that night.
about the guys' night out in the food plot.
Sausage party.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, you can see that, in higher deer density areas. You're obviously not going to see that down in the southern tier in some areas.
yeah. I mean,
As much.
this is kind of something good that, if you're into hunting or you want to learn more, is that, actually go on your DEC website and they lay out deer population,
Harvest take.
or they'll tell you like per county how many deer that they believe are in a square mile of your county.
Yep.
Like just a county line. Like I'm Ontario, you hunt Wayne.
Yep.
And we're 15 minutes apart?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wayne County, they're saying at least last time I looked, they're saying there's like 15 deer per square mile and about 3-4 bucks.
Yep.
You jump the line to Ontario, they're saying there's only 8 deer per square mile and $2. So you're almost cutting it in half.
Yep.
Just
And
going
after
county
AJ.
to county.
Yeah.
And then if you pay a little closer attention to like each county kind of has its own little thing. Like Ontario is just big farms, a lot of open space, at least the area I'm in.
Yep.
Of it. I know you can get more towards Honeoye, Canadice, and it'd be a little hillier, Bristol.
Yep. On the bottom side
Woodsy.
of it. Yep.
But the majority of Ontario is a lot of just open ag.
Yeah.
You're just hunting these little
Wood blocks.
10, 30 acre wood blocks. And then you jump over to the Wayne County line and things change. It's a little more wild over on the Wayne County side. You guys got
Drumlins and
drumlins. You got a lot more. Oh my God, I can't think of it. Goldenrod fields. You get a lot more of that natural stuff over there. It seems like. Where over here, the
abandoned
farmers
cattle pasture and stuff like that mixed and
Yeah, it
And
just
it's-
seems like it's a little different county to county.
Well, it's getting less and less, and I think, you know, not just county to county, but property to property. I mean, if you get, you know, even, you know, 1 or 2 miles away from the property you hunt, it could completely change. Like you could go a mile or two from here in a direction one way or another and hit a big block of, you know, wooded ground because it's wet swamp woods and it's not tillable. So you'll still get different variables in that. So and that's what people got to understand with the DEC and how they try to manage this and how they, you know, accumulate their data is they have to do a broad brushstroke as an average. And it's kind of your job as a hunter or, you know, land manager or whatever to kind of figure out that balance of, okay, maybe I should take some does, or maybe I should back off some does, or, you know, kind of keep yourself in check on your property, because your neighborhood is going to be completely different from my neighborhood and vice versa. It changes so much, you know, and people are like, well, DC is screwing up this or that. Well, you got to kind of take a step back and look at it and be like, they have to look at an entire area.
Well, they look at an entire area, and then they also need to take into consideration, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people are kind of against it.
Oh, no, there's
I mean,
always opposite.
So I mean, reporting your deer when it comes to population studies and stuff like that. I mean, that's where all those, you know, you reporting your deer goes into. It's not them trying to catch you at anything. You know, they're trying to maintain your sport in where you live. I mean, they're trying to
maintain the population
and help the species that you hunt. I mean, that's really what they're trying to do. And I think people get a little mixed up on that when it comes to reporting your deer and everything. They think that they're, you know, they're just
handing out doe tags left and right.
You know, they're out to get them, and I can see how some people would see that. But I mean, if you report your deer, I mean, in my opinion, I think it goes to a good cause. I think it, you know, they're taking that information that you give them and they're putting it into a database, and they're trying to make what you love doing better.
Yeah. So you're looking at it at a, let's just call it 100-acre landscape.
So
simplifying it. Yeah. If you're putting it at a 40-acre landscape or 100-acre landscape, the property you hunt, that's what you see. You have to see like this. The DEC has to look over that whole WMU and be like, all these little pieces average to X. So that's how you have to manage it. They can't manage at a micro level. They have to manage at the macro. And that's where a lot of people kind of, like you said, don't like them or get that kind of, that riff with it. You know, with a lot of that. So a lot of that comes back to, you know, the hunters or, you know, the sportsmen that are using that piece and be like, well, man, we could take a few more does this year, or, you know, whatever it might be for that property, you know, or be like, hey, our numbers kind of dropping a little bit. DEC gives us tags doesn't mean we need to fill them either.
Right.
You know, just because DEC will hand you 4 doe tags for 8F doesn't mean I need to go shoot 4 does. You know, maybe one on this property, a couple on the other property. It varies, but I don't need to be like, okay, I got to shoot 4 doe tags because they gave me 4 doe tags. You know, you have to look at it a little bit on both sides of the coin.
But if you want to shoot 4 doe, that's completely
legal.
It's completely legal. I mean, last year I tagged out. It was the first year of my life I tagged out, but I did it over 3 properties. I did it over.
Yeah.
I did it.
Or 4. Is it 4 technically? With your
muzzleloader buck would have been 4.
Yeah.
So I did it over 4 properties.
Yeah.
So I mean,
All
I didn't kill 7 deer off of, you know, 160 acres in 1 year. I killed 7 deer over
the course of the year.
You know, throughout the course of the year, but on 4 different pieces, you know, that were miles apart and towns apart.
Yeah.
So to break it up, I mean, you don't want to. You definitely, you know,
don't want to
see what you got, but kind of manage it in that way, I guess.
All right. Bathroom break for me.
Ben's got to go to the bathroom.
Thanks up.
I'm up. So what else we got going here? Yeah, I'm getting excited. I know a bunch of the guys came out when Connor shot his buck last night, and I don't run cell cams, but a bunch of them do, and their cell cams were dinging the whole time we were at his house. I think I finally left there about midnight, and their cell cams were going off. I don't know, the one guy, within 2 hours, I think he had like 5 or 6 different bucks hitting the same scrape. It was definitely happening. It was there, that front and everything definitely got him moving, and it was good. I mean, it was fun to see, and it gets you excited. Talking about all the cell cams going off last night, and all the bucks moving last night, and everyone getting excited with the pre-rut.
Oh, we're
hanging
sitting
out.
there. Yeah.
We don't run cell cams, but
Nope.
some of the guys there did, and it was pretty cool. I think he had like I think
At least
said
3
like
or 4 different bucks or better.
4 to 6 different bucks hit the same scrape within a couple hours.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy.
Yep. Yeah, no, and we had a little precip. Again, going back to they're gonna freshen scrapes up. We've been cold, but we haven't had the rain, and I think that rain and the precipitation, they have to go back
How about
out
the
there
frost?
and freshen that up.
A little snow.
We had a little frost this morning.
A little bit.
We're standing out there after the litter run at the college this morning, looking at the frost on the grass.
It's not the frost you want.
I want that crisp.
You want the crisp off where the grass is almost crunchy.
Absolutely. But Nate must have been the one you ran into because he said yes, sir.
Yes, sir. yeah.
You and Jake at what'd you say, Walmart?
I believe it was Walmart in Newark.
Yeah.
Right by the sportsman section. Naturally, Nate, by the sportsman section.
Yep, absolutely. And then Aaron messages in, what kind of cover sense do you guys use? So he lives right out by Billy, out in that neck of the woods out there.
Cover sense.
Wyoming County. I think Wyoming County is out where they are technically. For Livingston, Wyoming, kind of in that area.
I guess cover sense is. I guess I could just kind of give you the whole rundown.
Yeah, what's your
what's my
scent
product?
routine or whatever?
My scent
I guess.
routine. Before I go hunting, I always take. I'm a big dead downwind guy.
Mhm.
I always take a scent-free shower. I just buy their bar soap and scrub everything down. Then I throw my, my compression layer and my cotton layer on, sweatpants, and I always wear a turtleneck. It's something I've always done. I always wear a cotton turtleneck over my compression layer. And then I come out, I grab my bag that has all of my outer layers in it for hunting, depending on the time of year, whether it's my lighter stuff or my heavier stuff. I do use a scent crusher. I have an ozone unit that I'm kind of obsessed with. I really
For your outers?
Yeah, I really think that ozone is a game changer. And then I do have a little spray bottle I might hit my bag or bottom of my boots with a little bit of the dead downwind. And then I head in. Cover scent though, I gotta say I'm not big on using any urine or any
Artificial scents.
I'm not big on that. I always thought it kind of gave me away more than actually helped me. The one scents that I guess have recently come out in recent years are those calming scents, like a deer herd.
What do they call them? Evercom?
Evercom from
I can't remember. I don't know what the company is.
I use it.
Yep.
But I will rub a little bit of that. It comes in a deodorant stick. I will rub a little bit of that in the heel of my boot walking in. And I've had good luck with that. I've had deer follow it. I've had deer cut it and pay it no mind. I've never actually, whenever I used it, I can't say I've actually ever had one just go completely nuts and not like it.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's something to that herd scent, that calming scent.
Yep.
I definitely think there's something to that. But when it comes to the Tinks hot doughs and all that other stuff,
Fox ear.
yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people have used
I'm
over
not
the years.
about it. I did have a thought. I know you were talking about it a couple years ago about actually using, if you're hunting somewhere where someone runs a wood stove heavily, actually covering your smoking your camo.
Mhm.
But that's not what was my thought, but it just kind of made me think of what you brought up.
Yep.
But my thought was actually something that is very common in our area and is a very potent smell that you could easily cover yourself with is walnuts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why you couldn't just take some walnuts, shuck them up,
tannicky smell. Yep.
And if you hunt near any kind of walnut, just kind of cover yourself, rub it on your.
It's a distinct heavy
clothes,
odor.
distinct heavy odor, or just soak it in some water and then just soak your clothes in it and then just hang them up to dry.
Right.
Kind of, this is a little thought I had sitting in the tree
same thing, only different. I have a couple buddies that hunt, big dairy operations, and they'll park their truck by like the silage bunk, and there's usually like manure in the area, and they'll frickin' just slop their boots up in manure before they head out.
Yeah, because that's what the deer used to in that area used to smelling.
Yeah, similar to it. My dad's talked about it for years because majority of our property is abandoned apple orchard. Stepping on a pile of apples on the way in for that cover scent on his boots. Walking down the trail to access in, and you walk past a couple of apple trees, you smash some apples on your boots, and rub it around or whatever on your boot, and you keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
But their sense of smell is so much more advanced, than ours. I mean, obviously we can smell these smells and stuff like that, but dogs, deer, stuff like that, they have so many more.
You're talking, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are, but you're talking, I think a human is like maybe 1,000 particles per second is what you smell. And then deer is up in the millions.
Oh, the olfactory gland processing? Yeah.
I mean, a deer is up in the millions.
Yeah, it's
compared
it's
to
night and day.
I don't know if those are the exact numbers. Don't quote me on
Yeah.
that. But I'm saying if you're 1,000, that deer is up in the millions.
Yeah.
Of how much it can process through its nostrils over you.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. No, so cover scents with me, I'm an a limit shield guy. I got turned on to that by Tyler Breen back in the day. With Phil and all those guys over at Limit Shield. So that's what I've been using the last couple of years. I'm not sponsored, affiliated, just like you're not sponsored, affiliated with Dead Downwind.
Now, is that Remington stuff?
Same idea. It was Remington Scent Control before it was a Limit Shield. Yep.
Okay.
Same stuff. So I actually use that, and I have a YouTube video on my channel. I call it a roadside bath. They make this foaming solution that I use. And it works really good for clients that are, don't have a shower at their property where they can shower before a hunt.
Yeah.
And I'll douse down with that foaming agent, and I'll scrub everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I call it, I think in my YouTube video, roadside bath, to kind of scrub down and get that off. And then a lot of times I'm dressing, like going to the stand, if I obviously don't want to wake my parents up at 5 o'clock in the morning when I go hunt either, when I go hunt the farm or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do a roadside bath, but I'll drive to the farm literally in my pajamas.
Well, you got that little stick shift Ranger, man. You just kick that in neutral, flick the keys off, lights off, you're just coasting right in.
Yep. Lights off, everything just...
No engine running, nothing. The sound of the tire.
Yep. The sound of the tire on the gravel. But but no, I'll do that a lot. I'll go like straight out, I'll roll right out of bed, pajama pants on, t-shirt on, jump in the truck, drive to the farm, and it gets cold. I mean, when we're talking those crisp November mornings, I'll strip down right to my underwear, put my base layers on after I, roadside bath or whatever, and then pull them out of my tote, whether it's a scent crusher tote or one that I prep from washing or whatever, and then I'll go in. But the biggest thing with cover is just having the right stand. You're not going to beat it. You're minimizing.
You're not going to beat a deer's no. I mean,
You're minimizing.
you want to, because I believe that it takes a deer 2 out of 3, I guess, senses for them to really get upset with you, to blow, to start, to booger, to anything like that. Whether they see you and smell you, whether they hear you and see you, whether they
Hear you, smell you,
they're gone. If it's one of the 3, if they can smell you but they can't hear you or see you, and then with all that scent control that you're doing, you're eliminating those particles per minute going through their nose. So
parts per million.
You're
absolutely.
trying to fool them with that.
Yep.
You're trying to make them think that you're 100 yards away, but you're actually only 50 yards away from
You're
them.
minimizing that volume of your scent, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You're trying to, exactly how we just put it.
So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Aaron. I don't use like fox urine or anything like that.
I do run a Scent Crusher Ozone cigarette lighter machine in my truck.
Mhm.
I do spray my truck down also. I don't know.
Is it placebo effect? Does it work? We don't know. But
Don't
that's
know.
what we do.
But the bottom line is, in my opinion, you can do all this stuff, and the bottom line is the deer still can figure you out. But if it gives you that much more confidence,
Yep.
it gives you that much more comfort going into the woods that you're going to be successful, it's going to help you out.
100%.
It's a huge mental game, honestly, with it.
100%. Same thing with your arrow setup. We talked about that before. Whatever you're confident in,
Yeah, you're
that's what I
confident
would
in
roll
mechanical, with. You're confident in fixed. You're confident with a specific brand. Just run it. Whatever gives you that extra edge in your brain that makes you think that you're going to get the job done.
confidence is
Do
good.
it.
Billy Harvey, hot tip: turn off your door lock beep. 100%. Beep beep. Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, sounds like
Yeah.
Billy had a few instances.
Keep the keys out of the ignition.
Yep. Or just run a Chevy. They don't do that.
That's
Unless
possible.
you leave the door open. Actually, because you turn it off, and in a Chevy, you just pull the key out like a 1/4 inch. It don't ding.
No.
Them Fords, the key is just the tip of it's in.
You see the key?
Dang it.
The key is to run that 08 Ranger. There's no key.
the
There's no
Ranger.
key ding. There's
yeah.
no key ding. There's no
The Ranger.
nothing with the
The
Ranger.
Ranger. I
And
tell you
then,
what, them Rangers are stealthy little boogers. That little 4-cylinder, quiet,
Yep.
standard, kicking in neutral, shut everything off, coast on in.
Mhm.
Never even know you're there.
What my wife commented, and Ben's gonna show up on somebody's security camera in his roadside bath. LOL.
Yeah, Brian's.
Yeah, or my neighbors,
Yeah, or your neighbors.
because I do park down by Corey's to get into some parts of the farm and stuff like that. So
Roadside bath.
yep, been there, done that. Oh well, maybe they got me on security camera. Whatever. Oh well, I'm in my skivvies. I'm not naked most of the time. Miguel commented back in, frost on the pumpkin, time for Peter Duncan. I guess.
All right.
I like
I'm not
Miguel.
sure what that means there, Miguel. That I like the saying.
Yep.
Frost on the pumpkin, time for
Peter Duncan.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, what was the other slogan last night? Oh, it was from when I shot that buck over at my grandma's on video, and I said it last night, and Colin jumped all over it. Says that's his new favorite saying.
Yeah. If he jacks you up,
Jack him up.
jack him up.
Yep.
So yeah, that kind of just goes with, if that buck walks in front of you, or that doe, or whatever it is, gets you all excited.
Yep.
Get her done.
Legal,
So,
ethical, everything.
We're
Take
all out there to have fun, and I guess the day it stops being fun and gets me excited is probably the day I'll quit hunting. Which, way I see it, it'll never happen. So
No. I don't think so.
it's all about going out there and having fun.
Yep.
So if he jacks you up, jack him up, I think is it, right?
So, yeah. He jacked me up, so I jacked him up.
Yeah, Colin liked that one.
I actually had a text in comment because one of my good friends from college and clients.
Miguel says it's nearing rut time. The Peter Duncan.
Yeah, Peter Duncan. You got it. I
like it.
So a good friend of mine from college, Dustin, it's also a client of mine, commented in, said, Facebook won't let me send this message for whatever reason, but for your live Q&A, what's your upcoming plan with the warm weather, and how or when do you check cameras during the season? We touched on the first one a little bit, but we'll touch back to it.
All right,
That's a good
I'll
one.
let you lead that one off.
So the warm weather coming up, I'm getting stuff done around home. I'm banking brownie points with the wife, missus, getting stuff finalized, getting ready for when, I'm just going to go when this time.
I mean, if you got the time and, you want to be out there, just go out there and pick a smart stand. Don't go out there and blow your stuff up. Yeah,
I would say if you're going out during the 70-degree time, don't sit your best stand.
No, sit on the outskirts, sit on something.
Observe, get out there.
Good. And you never know, you might get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But, we like to talk about optimizing your chances.
Yep.
I wouldn't say going into your best spot on a 70-degree day is optimizing your chances.
No.
I would hold off a little bit. If you wanted to go hunting.
Or this is the only time you got.
Yeah. Get it done, because you never know. People are killing nice ones every day.
Yep.
But then again, in the warmer temperatures, if you're just out there for meat, just go sit a food source. Just hunt it smart and go sit a food source. You're going to get something to come out there in the evening.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But if you got your mind on killing a nice buck and you want to get the nice buck, I wouldn't go busting in on your best spot.
Yeah, not on the 70-degree day. Just take the patience. If you're looking to hunt this weekend, I would say be patient. It's hard because you only get so many weekends if that's all you get. I would look forward in that weather forecast and be like, Halloween weekend's going to be better than this weekend. Mm-hmm. So go do something with the wife or the kids. Go pumpkin picking, go apple picking, whatever.
Or
do some stuff around the house.
Call up some buddies.
Yep.
Hang out, do a little grilling, have some hot dogs, hamburgers on the grill.
Yeah, 70 degrees. Shoot, we'll be in shorts and a t-shirt compared to what we've been having.
The pool's still open?
No.
Oh, right.
We're not going in the pool. But
so what was the second half of his question then?
How and when do you check cameras during the season?
During the season is when I'm hunting close to that camera. I do not walk all over the property. Just pick a random time. Be like, I'm just going to go pull all my camera cards today.
Yep.
I don't do that. To each their own. If I'm sitting near that spot, I will pull the camera. I guess the way a lot of my spots are set up is I have a stand. I have a camera probably within 30 yards of it. Sometimes there's a mock scrape. Sometimes there's a natural scrape. Sometimes I just got the camera set on a trail. But usually my cameras are set up relatively close within a reasonable walking distance. And I usually pull them when I leave.
Yep.
I don't. So, a friend of mine, my cousin, asked me to help him set up a stand. So I went out there and we looked at it and everything. We were like, he goes, "This is the area I want it." He goes, "Where are you thinking that it should be?" And we both agreed that it should be in the south end of that south hedgerow. And it kind of worked out perfect because he could just walk right down the farmer's driveway, right along the edge of a hedgerow. And then his stand was in a hedgerow. And then that hedgerow butted into a major wood block. So we set up a mock scrape out in about 30 yards away from his stand, out on the edge of the major wood block where we were thinking most deer traffic would walk by. And we set a stand up, and we had a nice little access trail on the back side of his stand. So when he wanted to check his camera, don't check your camera, or you're not walking out into the field, you're hunting.
Yep.
You can come in behind that hedgerow, and them deer that are out in that field already when you're hunting, you can actually get a visual like halfway through that hedgerow before you get to your stand of like what's out there. and then if there's nothing out there, then hop up in your stand.
Yep.
Well, he gets out there and he decides he's going to go hunting, and he walks straight out into the field, checks his camera, and then climbs up into a stand. And I was asking him, I said, "Why would you do that?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, we cut an access trail. I said, "Why would you walk out into the middle of the field you're hunting?
Expose yourself.
Anything that was out there, whether you saw it or not, gone, because you just exposed yourself to the entire 3-acre field, whatever it was, is like a 3-4 acre alfalfa field."
Yeah.
But I got talking, he's like, "Wow, that does kind of make sense." I was like, "Wow."
So this is something I've heard. I think Jeff Sturgis said it. Imagine hunting deer like they had guns. How would that change how you hunt your property?
Wow,
That would change a lot of people's way they hunt their property.
There would be a lot less hunters. That's
There'd be a lot, yeah.
That's a lot less. That's a life or death situation there.
No, but like you said, that boils right back to that comment with laying that spot out. Why would you jump right out into that field when you have the access? You have the option to do that.
When you're leaving.
Yep.
That's when you expose yourself.
Yep. Nothing's out in the field. I'm leaving. Go out, grab a card. Just 30 seconds tops. Get back through the hedgerow. Out you go. Nobody's none the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than going there right before light or right before you sit that night, jump out in the field, check your card, then get on your stand and keep going from there.
Yeah.
You know,
just
take a little step back.
You're trying
and think about it.
Every little thing you do is like we've been talking about. So what is this, episode 6?
7.
Just trying to do everything to optimize your chances of being successful.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and then, exposing yourself to the field you're hunting before you even hunt it just kind of blew my mind a little bit. But he agreed. He took a step back.
Yep. And it's always learning. I mean, doesn't matter if you've been doing this 1 year or, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. I think you should learn something. Not necessarily every sit, but every season you should learn and grow kind of as a hunter. To be getting, to make yourself better, for sure. But I know we're closing in. We went over that hour and a half mark. We're about an hour 46. So I don't think we have any more questions, but
so you think that answered his question there on the...
Yes. So just to tie off on Dustin's question that he commented in on with when you check your cameras, like you said, it's when I'm going into a spot. So there's 3 times that I use, for an example.
This is for the non-cell cam users?
Yep. Like us, like some of the people. But I know a lot of people use cell cams now, so it's different. So it's when I'm coming out of a spot, maybe when I'm going into a spot, like you said, it depends on the situation. If I get on the edge of a food source and I can see there's nothing in it, I might run out 10 yards, grab the camera, get back. It depends. You know what I mean? It's all situational. Second time, tracking a deer on that section of the property. Whether it's I'm tracking it, a neighbor's tracking it, if we're putting that pressure and intrusion into an area,
This is all during season.
During season, yeah. It's different. That's the second time, and then the third time is weather extremes. I'm talking 40-mile-per-hour winds, torrential downpour rains. If you want like a big full pull of a property, 40-mile-per-hour winds. When the deer are laying
safety wise, I don't recommend going out into the woods in 40-mile-an-hour winds. But if you want to pull your cameras,
yep,
by all means, if you feel safe.
But that's it. That's my 3 times: is exiting a stand, tracking deer, and then extreme weather. And when I'm talking extreme weather, I'm not talking quarter-inch rains, pitter-patter throughout the day, kind of like we've been having. I'm talking like inchers, where you're getting like quarter-inch, half-inch an hour kind of rains, like where the deer are really hunkered down. And you can put your fucking rain gear on and just be like, all right, I'm just going to go grab a couple cards.
Yeah.
Those are the extremes. The other ones I've done in the past is like we did this. So this is really dating, the process of how we've approached the management on our property. Me and my dad used to go out on the 4-wheelers, Nate. I kid you not. Back when I used to live at home and was in high school and stuff like that.
That brings up another point: the 4-wheelers.
4-wheelers.
If you have the chance to pull your cards on a 4-wheeler, do that instead of walking.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely less intrusive.
But either way, go back to your
story. So me and Dad, we used to walk and 4-wheeler back when I was like high school and college. We used to literally, because this is before we started even thinking about carrying 2 cards per camera and swapping them. We would go, I kid you not, with a backpack and a laptop into the field, put the little USB cord in the camera, put the USB cord in the computer, and sit there at 11 o'clock at night and go through cameras at the camera spot.
Oh, my God.
So, and those are great memories, And then, like, obviously on camera 3, the laptop would die. Just, that's how it was. But that's what it was back in, like, 07, 08, when cameras were kind of really first coming on to the digital cameras.
Yeah.
Not the go, get your film processed, that kind of camera, but the digital ones.
I think you were still a little behind. You guys were still a little behind the 8 ball with that.
Just a little.
But, yes.
Yep.
Yes. I think you guys could have done things a little more advanced in 2007, 2008. But
yeah.
I know Brian.
It was all good.
There
was a lot of good memories of walking around and driving the 4-wheeler around 11:30 midnight, and we're driving around and we're bringing an old laptop.
That is funny.
Bringing an old laptop out there and plugging a cord into it.
I wish I was doing that in 2007.
Yep.
2008.
No, it's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Definitely a little different situation between.
Dustin texted back, said, "Awesome, thanks guys for getting to his questions about
Derek."
And then Derek commented in on the YouTube. Number 1 commenter coming in late to the party.
Derek, that's the most potato.
That's the most potato shit ever. So my dad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Derek. I'm like, we're past the turn of the century here. I'm like, these guys are out there.
Putting a cord up into the camera, putting it to the laptop. That's
Did
how
you borrow the laptop from the school? Was
no,
it like
no. It was a I don't even know. That laptop is probably long gone by now. But no, we used to literally, like I said, go around and we used to check cameras that way because there was a USB port on the camera and one on the computer, and you used to run it through with the cord. And we do it. We would do it, in the middle of the night.
That's a good point there.
So, Miguel with a good comment. Also having an extra battery tray for easy swapping of batteries. Pop one out, pop one in, already loaded with batteries, real quick. No, that's huge.
I mean,
I like that a lot.
I like the quicker in, quicker out. I like that. Miguel, that's a good point. I like your comment.
Yep, that's what I like about.
So I sit there and fumble with them freaking batteries. They fall on the ground. Or Ben was helping me with one the other day. We went out. I forget what we were doing out there. But the freaking battery, I don't know, it was an older Moultrie, and the batteries wouldn't stay in it.
You got to shove a business card up in there to hold the pressure.
But they kept popping back out.
Yep.
And they kept falling on the ground. I'm like, you got to sit there like twist them and wedge them. Spending so much time messing with that. Miguel, good comment.
Yeah, so that's what I like about the Exodus cameras that I run. Most of my cameras now are those. I have spare battery trays, and like he says, I can go in there and have it in like my hand muff or a pocket of my pants when I check it and be like, oh shit, the camera's like at 20% or maybe it's dead. I'll pop the tray out, put a new fresh tray in, and I'm out. So that's a great
in
point.
and out. That's the best way to be.
Great point.
Don't be hanging around.
Yeah, the quicker you can be in and out, the better. For the hunting side of it. Derek says, "Yeah, you bought your generator and a desktop."
I wouldn't put that past Brian.
Yeah,
he is what's the word? MacGyver.
Yeah,
Brian is a MacGyver. He will figure it out.
Yeah, 100%.
Without having to spend $1, that guy will figure it out.
Yeah. But No, he asked me to print him out some pictures of all these, all the bucks and stuff like that on the different properties, so he knows what to look for. And I told him, I was just like, get back to the jack you up, jack him up kind of thing. Yeah, it's been a handful of years plus since my dad's killed a buck. First good one walks out. Like, I'm really surprised he didn't take a shot at double wide.
That was 35, 40 yards.
Yeah, it was 4. I think he was 45. I think he said that's a poke. I do give him, but that's where the experience comes in. 45.
I shoot every week before season. Like when season ends, you and me both do. We do it together.
Mm-hmm.
We shoot every week, if not every other week, leading up to the next season.
Yep.
And I tell you what, at 45 yards at a live animal,
it's a different ball game.
That is a tough poke, especially if the deer's calm, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But if that deer is on alert, hell no, I ain't doing that.
No,
the deer's gone. I'm gonna miss him or wound him.
Yep.
Because he's gonna turn something funky.
No. Farthest I've shot a deer with a bow was 42. I shot a doe one time at 42, and I don't think I'll ever shoot that far again.
I mean, if I feel good and the conditions are right and the deer's super calm.
Confidence, going right back to your confidence, and gotta be confident. If it even crosses your mind that it's not gonna be that, don't take the shot.
I've messed up so many times with my bow. It's ridiculous.
We all have.
So going back to that and confidence and everything, and I just like the 30 and under, man. I really like that number, that 30 number on a live animal.
Yeah, put pin 1, pin 2 on it, and send it.
Simplifying.
Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, no, I love Derek's
comment. For the average guy. Yeah. What's that?
I love Derek's comment. You bought your generator and a desktop. I don't even think my dad knows what a desktop is. Or a lap. Well, he knows what a laptop is, but not a desktop.
He's thinking about
up on top of the desk,
desk.
With a monitor and a column and everything. Yeah,
all ratchet strapped to the 4-wheeler.
Yep, taking it out there.
Yeah,
with a generator.
Being real stealthy.
Yeah. But no, that's how we started doing it, and I mean it's all about learning, progressing, doing everything, and then all of a sudden it was like, why don't we just pull a card and put another card in the camera? And then all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, why are we taking a laptop out there and sitting there for 20 minutes going, flipping through it?
Because Brian didn't want to buy another card.
That's possible. That's possible. Or nobody was talking about it.
I'm busting on Brian too much tonight. Brian, I love you. I'm sorry.
Yep. Maybe the next episode's at Brian's house.
Oh, God. Yeah, maybe we should do one at Brian's house. Would Brian want to go on here?
I don't know. I haven't asked him.
He comments in. Well, he has your mom comment in.
Yep.
Is Brian tech savvy?
No.
That makes sense.
Yep. So my wife says one of those projectors on a cart from grade school. Oh, with the transparent sheets.
Oh my God.
The projectors.
The projector.
Yep. No. But no, I think that's a really a good episode. Absolutely for this, and I think we're getting longest one I think we've ever done, dude. We're right on the 2-hour mark. So
we're on 2 hours, really?
2 hours. Doesn't seem like it, does it?
Well, hang on. We're gonna end it with me and little Owie with that.
So
with my kill.
Derek's comment: laptop on a table equals desktop. Right. That's what we're doing right now. We got a meat cutting table, a laptop set up on it, and that's the podcast for Whitetails and Whiskey. And we're gonna leave you guys with the picture of the night.
I gotta say, I am one proud papa. I got a picture with my little man.
Baby Owen, Nate's first harvest of the year. Nice mature doe.
And if you can't see it, he's got his little deer hat on.
Absolutely.
The wife set that one up.
Wow. But yeah, I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Absolutely had a blast tonight doing this. I mean, we had Clap out here. Dawn was out here. Liza's out here. Obviously, Owen was out here.
Well, it's the party shed, so people randomly just kind of come in and out.
Oh, yeah. Connor's probably sitting out there waiting for us to finish this before he comes in.
Well, I didn't see no lights slow down out the window,
Yeah.
but one more shout out before we go. This is my cousin Julia. She got her first bow kill. She's 13 years old, and according to my uncle Josh, she did not want to go out in youth season and kill one with her gun because she said that's what all the boys do.
Yep.
She said she wanted to kill one with a bow. So this is Julia. Congrats.
First bow kill because guns are for boys and sissies.
That's basically what she said. She's a tough little girl, and congrats to her.
100%. There's your shout outs of the night from the Skin and Shed with Whitetails and Whiskey. Derek says, love you guys. Sorry I was late. Have a good one and a beer for me. Like
Yeah,
always,
Derek, we'll catch you later.
Will do, man. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate this. It'll be up on the YouTube channel. We're trying to really grow it over there. Got the call-in with the Bullhorn app. Facebook was moving like always.
Yeah,
Just a good episode.
I think it was fun. I mean, the first one in the deer shed.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I feel my box look pretty good back there.
They do look good.
They look nice.
They're a really good box.
Not bad.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you all next time
See ya.
in the